This is how it was with the City of Light. The place had a claim not only to be the capital city of France, but the world's capital too, at the forefront of developments in all fields of human activity, in art, in music, in literature and theater, in the sciences and in technology, in medicine and in policing and in architecture too. In a generation, Haussmann's rebuilding of the city had transformed it from something essentially medieval, a beast of putrefaction, into a modern city with nobler aspirations. The World's Fair of 1889 had seen the construction of Eiffel's Tower. Initially derided and intended to be merely temporary, in no time at all it became the beloved iconic landmark of the city, which no one would ever dream of tearing down. And across the river to the north, on the far side of the city on the hill of Montmartre, stood another great escapade in construction, half-built, the Basilica of the Sacred Heart, Le Sacré-Cœur. It's facile, but nonetheless true to say that we can only be aware of light with the existence of darkness, and both of them were alive and well in Paris. Yet both the beauty and the darkness of the city could be found symbolized in this work in progress. In 1899, it was not yet 30 years since the city had last convulsed in revolution and bloodletting during the 2 months of the Commune, until the army had brutally restored order to the city with a week of summary executions, in which 10, some said 20,000, were killed, turning the waters of the Seine red. So, Sacré-Cœur, designed as both a memorial to the dead and a penance for the crimes of the communards. But where did the authorities of the status quo decide it should be built? Then on the hill of Montmartre, right in the heart of the revolutionary camp. And a clearer symbol of implied power it is therefore harder to imagine. And yet, where else should it be built than on Montmartre? Montmartre, the hill of the martyrs, so called because it is said that Saint-Denis, bishop of Paris, was decapitated here by pagan priests, fearful of the great number of his conversions. Then again, it is also said that after his head was removed with a sword, he picked it up and walked 6 miles, preaching a sermon as he went. So perhaps we should not take all old stories too seriously. Paris, like those old stories, was full of both darkness and light. For the forces of light we may count among many others the following: Maurice Ravel, Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec and Pablo Picasso, Guy de Maupassant and Émile Zola, Art Nouveau, Champagne, the cinematograph, telephony, the electric light itself. These and their friends represent the movement upward towards the light, the striving for better and higher things, and to look once at the surface of the city is to see these things and smile. But, appropriately enough, it is a French word that truly captures the nature of La Belle Époque, and the word is facades. For just behind the door, behind the red velvet curtain, beyond the imposing front of that elegant house, are the forces of the underworld, les apaches, the gangs of Montmartre. The shanty towns on the ruins of the old fortifications, where the Zoniers picked through the scraps of the rich and barely survived. The maisons closes, brothels only distinguishable by the oversized numbers above their doors. And everywhere, crime. Crimes of violence, crimes of greed, crimes of passion, crimes of all three combined. As the century wound up, the Paris police were in danger of being overwhelmed by the sheer quantity of daily acts of law-breaking, and though they had grown again and again in size and sophistication, there were always more criminals than police, and not just ordinary everyday burglars and robbers, fraudsters and cheats, but darker forces at work within the city too, organized networks. And there is one more ingredient to be found in fairy tales. It is, in fact, the very thing that truly defines the form: magic. Without magic, a fairy tale is only a folk tale, and that, after all, is no more than a mundane story told between friends and neighbors. Of genuine magic in Paris there was probably none to be found. Of illusion there was plenty. That was what the entire city was about, that the truth of what was really happening lay behind the pretty facades. It was as if the whole city was saying, "Don't look at that. Look at this. I will show you what I want you to see, and you will be so dazzled by its beauty and its brightness that you won't look any further. You won't want to look any further. You know the darkness is there, but why look at that, when I can give you what you want? Pleasure." If there was one center of illusion in Belle Époque Paris, if there was one place where light and dark